Chancery project is a collaborative pro bono initiative that mobilises the legal profession to rewire contracts and laws to tackle the climate crisis. Born out of conversations during London Climate Action Week 2019, TCLP recognises that the legal profession is in a unique position to address the climate crisis as lawyers write the contracts and the laws which influence decisions made by individuals and businesses. In less than a year, solicitors, barristers and academics from over 100 firms and organisations, including Slaughter & May, Hogan Lovells, Minter Ellison, Norton Rose, Clyde & Co and Airbnb, have set aside their professional rivalries to collaborate on the project.
Well, we do not profess to have all the answers to the climate crisis, and we are not trying to own the solutions. From the very beginning, the project has not been about individual lawyers or firms, but rather the collective effort of the entire legal profession to make a positive impact. We are, with the very best of intentions, using our legal skills to accelerate practical solutions to climate change in a politically and professionally neutral manner.
After the first legal hackathon in November 2019, TCLP published the first edition of the Climate Contract Playbook. It has precedent clauses for lawyers and businesses wishing to drive climate action in their everyday contracts, such as building in green improvement obligations in supply contracts or back-to-back net zero targets with their suppliers and customers. The Green Paper of Model Laws sets out model laws to accelerate the transition to net zero emissions. Often these involve amending an existing law that's unrelated to climate change, like data or planning legislation, to create incentives or remove barriers to net zero. Each of these precedent clauses and laws has been given a child's name to connect to the next generation for whom the changes that we make today are so important. Since these publications were launched in February, they've been downloaded over 9,000 times by users in over 60 countries. The clauses and model laws are free to use for law firms, businesses, and policymakers alike. They've been embedded in precedents by global law firms and used in university law courses. So why do precedents and clauses matter in the fight against climate change? Well, even with a 2050 net zero emissions target enshrined in law, like we have here in the UK, there is still so much to do to reach that goal. It will need more detailed legislation, and that will take time. This is time we can ill afford. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or the IPCC, the standard bearers for climate science, the 2020s are the most important decade of change. We must reduce emissions by 45% from 2010 levels by the end of this decade if we're to be on track to meet the Paris Agreement goal to limit global average warming to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial temperatures. And businesses wanting to take the lead can use contracts to bridge the gap in the transition to net zero. And even when more detailed legislation is enacted, contracts will be required in almost every aspect of transitioning our economy towards net zero emissions. Contracts can help amplify positive environmental behaviour through the economy by passing on obligations to others. And they're not constrained by jurisdiction like legislation, so the positive reach of a contract in a globally connected economy is boundless. Now, drafting is just one part of the project. Our community of lawyers then amplify the clauses in their firms or businesses with their clients and across their networks. Already the clauses have been embedded in precedents of multinational companies and in law courses.
In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Chancery Lane project has pivoted to virtual events and online collaborative drafting as we continue to grow our community and its positive impacts across the globe. Moving forward, London Climate Action Week will see the project's first birthday, a publication of the second version of the Climate Contract Playbook, and a new publication focused on a glossary of terms essential to high quality drafting going forward. Immediately following the London Climate Action Week, prior to the London Climate Action Week, we'll have a 2-week origin story hack, which will explain origin stories in the next video. And during the London Climate Action Week, we'll have a 48-hour origin story hack. We'll be participating in the ESSELA conference, the European Social Impact Law Association conference, during the week. And we'll be taking forward the origin stories with a 2-month process of drafting between London Climate Action Week and then New York Climate Week in September. We're currently scoping our involvement with New York Climate Week and expect to be running virtual hacks before and during the event. We're doing this in partnership with some key East and West Coast law firms and academic institutions, and we're planning a version 3 of the Climate Contract Playbook to be published immediately before Climate Week. And then in November, our main annual event in partnership with Thomson Reuters Practical Law will be doing Pro Bono Week. It'll be a combination of, we hope it'll be a combination of virtual and in real life events, depending on how circumstances allow. We're also hoping that it'll be multi-jurisdictional, and we'll be aiming to publish a 4th version of the Climate Contract Playbook. So get involved. Please sign up to our newsletter on the chancerylaneproject.org. Go to the Get Involved page. You'll then be able to join us on our Slack community, where we have over 100 lawyers actively involved in hacking laws and contracts and supporting each other. Join us on our weekly community calls. Take the pen.
I think that there are a lot of commercial lawyers who want to do something about the climate crisis, but don't know where to start. The Chancery Lane Project creates a safe space to innovate. There was this magic in the room at our first hackathon, a real sense that together we can use our expertise to reshape the legal landscape so that every contract and law leads to tangible progress towards a net zero emissions economy.
We have simply been overwhelmed with the stories from our lawyers and firms involved in the project. They tell us how much goodwill they get from being involved, and sometimes use it as a business development opportunity with clients. From trainees to the most senior partners, we hear about the project gives the opportunity for those lawyers to use their skills in creating a unique sense of purpose and engagement. For firms, it's client and climate alignment. For lawyers, it's professional, personal, and planetary alignment. It is that magic combination of profession and purpose. Thank you for getting involved.